Hi guys, my name is Girish, your host for today for Back to Basics, another Back to Basics, another week. So I hope you're enjoying all the shows that I have because I know I am, and I'm sure the guest is also. So today's guest is a little special for me. I met her a few weeks back on Clubhouse. I keep on saying Clubhouse, but it seems like I'm meeting great, vibrant people on Clubhouse, and it's going to be vibrant show for today. So today is a fashion designer. Today is an interior designer. So we'll talk about the basics of that and what's the trending nowadays in the US and in India too, or maybe around the world. So we'll get into that basics too. And then we'll talk to her. So let's welcome my guest on the show. Her name is VARIJA Bajaj, and we're going to talk to basics. Guys, thank you so much for coming on my show today.
Thank you, Girish. It's an absolute pleasure to be here, and I'm so glad that you've invited me here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. I know that your time is very, very precious, and I tried to make it as quick as possible, or I should say, late as possible. So thank you so much. So before we get into the basics of what you do and what you stand for, and the whole empire that you have, what does Back to Basic mean to you?
I think back to basics is understanding. So there's a foundation of everything that you do in life,
Yeah.
and as we progress, I think somewhere we forget the principles and the foundation of whatever that we're doing, whatever is our mission, whatever is our vision. I think it's important to remind ourselves again and again that there is something from where we started, and I think that just strengthens the foundation of whatever that we intend to do in life. That's
Yeah.
back to basics for
Thank you
me.
so much. I mean that could be for life, but then that's also for business too, right? I mean, sometimes we tend to forget the actual goal of your whole business and anyone's career also at the same time. Sometimes it's better to just sit down and relax and try to understand what my goal is for the next 5, 10, 20, 30 years, depending on what your goal is going to be. So do you agree with that, or do you?
Absolutely. When we chart out, I think the plans look very rosy,
Yeah.
and somewhere we get drifted. So it's very important to repeatedly remind yourself about where you started from, what was the purpose, and what you had envisioned. To keep hammering that thought and sort of put things in place. I think it works very well for me.
Of course, of course. Thank you so much for that. So, so let me ask you this. I know that you're a fashion designer. I know that you're an interior designer. I'm pretty sure you do other things too besides that, but I think that is your main thing. But how did it all start? I mean, did you just wake up in the morning and said that I'm going to be a fashion designer? I mean, you had to work a little hard. I want to explain to people that it's a lot of hard work and a lot of creativity in your mind to get where you are today.
Well, I need to write a book on this, but I'll try to sum it up in as many little words as I can because it's a long story. I am a science student from school where my father wanted me to become a doctor, and I was scared of basic rat dissections in school, and I decided no, I can't see blood. So I dropped that out. I pursued philosophy honors post that, and then tried to figure out what I really wanted to do in life. Did I want to pursue social work or something to do with creativity? Like all young kids, I don't think I had the right kind of career counseling. So I was trying my hands on everything, and I did give entrance exams of some of the best colleges here in India for fashion designing, and you'll be surprised I was rejected by all. And I went on to do my advertising from Xavier's Bombay. So I thought I'll I had to just get into a field of creativity. So be it.
Mm.
If not fashion designing, I'll pursue advertising. And I worked in advertising post that for a while to realize that I'm capable of doing more, and I am probably underutilized as a potential. I was only taking care of the marketing in the front end. What about the product development and operations and supply chain and the finances and all that?
Hmm.
And I felt the vacuum of doing an MBA, and I went on to do my MBA from Sheffield. And I think somewhere I had the skill to get into fashion. So I thought if I can't be a fashion designer, I can still run a business of fashion. I can hire designers to work under me.
Mm.
So I came back to India and I started my label, not with an intention to design clothes, but to run a brand and offer to customers what they really need.
Yeah, yeah,
Now, what happened in the initial 6 months was that whatever that my designers were designing, I couldn't sell because they were much closer to the ramp than to real people. They were
mm,
much conditioned to make very fancy runway creations, which does not work for uh, a regular person.
yeah,
Whereas in management they teach if your customer wants rotten apples, you give them rotten apples. You don't give them fine apples because they don't want it.
of course.
So not quite literally, but what I'm trying to say is that my strength was being close to the customer, trying to understand their psychology and rendering them into the product of creativity that they want. And I realized that this hiring of designers and just having a very strategic role is not going to work for me.
Yeah.
So I had to opt for this hard path and a tough one, which is become a self-trained designer.
Mm.
And that's what I went on to doing, which is creating my own rules of the game, which is also very interesting because at that point there were no benchmarks in the industry.
Sure.
So there was a good and the bad side of it. The good side of it was I was the leader of my own game and I was creating my own rules. The bad part was that there was no learning curve that I could follow.
Hmm.
So yes, so that was the path I adopted, and I became a self-trained designer to an extent that I teach in all the colleges that rejected me at that point. So I have my own theories, my own theorems, and my own formulas. So that's how fashion designing happened.
Wow, that's amazing. So, Virgil, just give me a second. Let me tell my listeners and my viewers of what I think what you just said. So, guys, just keep in mind that this is what she did. She went into the fashion design college or institute, I should say, right? And she didn't do well. Now, some people, when they fail, or I should say, a step back and get a hit in the head, they say, you know what? I don't think this is for me. But this is not what she did. She actually said, you know what? This is what I really want to do. So it's more of a courage. So I want to make sure that you understand, my listeners and my viewers, that no matter what it is, your inner soul is going to say that this is what you were meant to be. So don't let anyone let you down. I mean, that is my main goal for Back to Basics. And she went back to basics on that terms. Roger, am I right on that or wrong in that?
Absolutely. I think another thing over the years which I have realized is as a child, we're always looking for validations. Validations from elders, validation from society, validation from your school report cards to to everything that you do in life. You
Yeah.
you are always looking for an external validation, but somewhere having 17 years of experience now in the professional fields, I have stopped looking for external validations, and that would be my one advice: that if you really want to do it, if you have the passion to do it, you'll figure out ways to do it. Don't wait for the. I mean, there were three colleges I didn't get through. And in all those three colleges, I am teaching. I'm just designing their curriculum today. And so I mean, if I was depending on their validation, I don't think I would have come this far.
Yeah. I think as what they say, the karma just comes around, right, in circles, and that's
Yes,
what really happened. And I think you wanted to make that vision true for yourself, and I think you did, and you made your own benchmark also, as what you just said. And I think today will be one fashion, and then next one you kind of make it better than last year, right? And that's your competition, as you want to call it, for yourself. Uh, okay.
absolutely. I think it's a competition with self.
Yeah.
As long as I'm growing, as long as I'm learning, as long I'm better than what I was yesterday, as long as I'm enjoying what I'm doing,
Yeah.
I really don't care. I
Yeah.
really don't care about somebody coming and giving me an award or patting on my back or acknowledging me in the media. I don't think it does. It gives me any high except for the fact that I performed well
Yeah.
and I outdid my own self.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest high that I have.
Yeah. I mean, my high is obviously I'm a technologist for the last 20 years, but I think my cocaine, as you want to call it, my high is starting my own podcast and start talking to people, because I think that's what I was born to do. Because I was an RJ back in my high school and college days, and I brought my passion out, and people are enjoying my process of what I do so far. So I agree with that, what you just said. So regarding fashion and interior, so explain, what are the trends nowadays for fashion? Is it because now we're in the COVID situation and we're slowly getting away from that, right? So people are spending less on clothing. So do you think the trend is that we're laid back and wearing jeans nowadays, or shorts nowadays, or what do you think the trend is now?
So, this is one question that has always disturbed me, not just now, even earlier, because I feel the moment we say what is in trend, um, somewhere it defines fashion in its very limited sense and is expected to have people as clones. They're supposed to follow trends. So let's say a white t-shirt and blue jeans is in trend. Then everyone is wearing a white t-shirt and blue jeans, whether you have a figure to carry jeans or not, irrespective. And worldwide, I mean, I am in a country which is uh, demographically, culturally so vast that it is very difficult to put the so to say fashion trends in one bottle.
That's right.
Because what works in northern India does not work down south. What works for a fairer woman does not work for somebody who's dark skinned. What works for somebody in metros will probably not work for somebody living in a conservative, culturally sensitive environment in a tier 3, tier 4 city.
Hmm.
So to say that there is one blanket trend, I could never,
Come up with
come
that.
myself
Yeah.
around it. But having said that, in the current times, we are in very exciting times because I think the fashion trends will take a step back
Hmm.
for a couple of reasons. There will not be any runway trends for obvious reasons because um, the global supply chains have got hit. So let's say if US has got opened, India is going through a lockdown. So by the time India will open up, some other country will go through a lockdown. So and the seasons, so it's the blanket trends will be out for a while
Hmm.
till everything gets stabilized.
Hmm.
The other thing is that nobody is bothered about fashion trends right now because it's hit people all across up and down the Maslow's triangle. And as we are on this platform, has got everybody back to the basics. So everybody is at the lowest level of the pyramid where the basics matter, the clothes matter, the functionality matters, and what I like matters. I'm not here to impress somebody else. I
Yeah.
think that is something that COVID has really taught us. If I want to wear a shimmer dress all by myself with nobody around, and feel like I want to party, I bloody well do that,
Sure.
because I know I have one life, and I have no guarantee of tomorrow. So
Yeah.
I think that's the attitude that is going to, and if I just want to dress up in pajamas, uh, be it,
Yeah.
because I'm again not here to impress anybody. So I think to be against fashion trends ask for or have been asking for external validations.
Mm-hmm.
So again, we are in very exciting times where nobody is seeking for fashion validation from the society or the party that you walk in or the media, or no, and nobody's even bothered. So I
Sure.
think that is what fashion trend is going to be, each one for his own. uh, and there will be, it will cultivate self-styling techniques because people would love to innovate by themselves.
Sure.
So I'm really looking forward to a lot of fashion trends coming out and people experimenting with their own wardrobes.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'll send you a picture offline. What we did this year, or I should say last year for New Year's Eve, even though that we were on a lockdown. So, every year we go out for New Year's for a friend's place for New Year's, and there are certain times we don't, but majority of the time we go to this friend's place. He's a high school friend of mine. This year we could not do, meaning last year we could not do because of the lockdown. So what we did is, as a trend, is that we dressed up, my kids, my family, we dressed up and we actually showed people that we actually celebrated New Year's Eve. So I think you're right. I think it's all of how you want to bring your family up to the par, and it doesn't matter who looks and who doesn't look, right? I think that's the name of the game for fashion, according to me. I think what I've noticed from the serious part of things, 5 years, maybe 6 years, I'm not really sure when, but at weddings and receptions and cocktail hours, I have noticed that men, they don't wear ties no more, and it's just a suit and a shirt, and I think that's a new trend, which was never, so I don't know, maybe that's a change. Or maybe people are getting relaxed or they don't care anymore. I don't know what the answer is, but I think it's a casual look nowadays. Do you agree with that, even though that is formal look?
I think more than casual, it is one's own comfort. So
Yeah,
people are trying to blend in a very uptight look with what they are comfortable with. And I think tie is definitely not the most comfortable thing to wear.
sure.
So it is giving those flexibility to people to be themselves. And while they want to look good, while they want to dress up, they don't want to go to the extent of just impressing somebody else.
Yeah, yeah. And then and regarding, thank you so much, by the way, for that. For now, regarding your interior design, where,
Mhm.
I saw the Instagram of all the pictures and how the transformation that you did from sorry my language, but the garbage dump to a palace. It's just amazing how you transformed that. So what vision came in there? I mean, do I send a picture of my house to you and you can tell me what needs to be changed, or do you go to someone's house to vision yourself what their, I guess their style is? Is that the right word? Or go ahead.
So, interiors was another transition that happened just about 6 years after having spent about 11 years in fashion. Uh, and I realized that if I'm blessed to design, then I'm blessed to design anything. My sense of proportion, my sense of colors, my sense of balance
Mm,
is in place. It's just that from garments now I need to extend that to spaces, and that's what interior designing is all about.
mm-hmm,
Another very important aspect of designing when you're doing custom designing is understanding the psychology of the person who actually needs it. So
mm,
when we are doing that with clothes, in interiors, we're doing that with families or the person who's going to be staying there. For example, if we were to talk about homes, if we were to talk about offices, then what is the philosophy and the DNA and the thought process, the mission, the kind of people who are working there?
yeah,
Because again, the idea is not to clone homes and replicate what is my design thought process in to their homes,
Yeah.
because their thought process might be very different. And that is what we try to extract from our clients. A lot of unspoken language, they probably cannot explain in as many words what they want, because they are not technical people. So we just talk random things. What alcohol do you like to drink, or what is the kind of food you like, or what kind of music do you like? It helps us draw a picture of what kind of home this person would want. Otherwise, if I ask them, do you like a vintage or a contemporary or a country look? I mean, they'll be blank because they don't know these terms and they
Sure.
haven't studied interiors to that extent. But just with the kind of lifestyle that they have, do they have a joint family? Do they have a nuclear family? Are there too many people visiting their home? What is the profile of people visiting? What is the profile of parties they are hosting? I
Sure.
think all that helps us put together something called a home and not just a house. And so this is what interiors is all about. And now it is much easier. I think when we started, it was very important to visit a house and see their lifestyle and understand them better. Now I think we can just do this over a Zoom call with the basic drawings, if they have the drawings in place.
Hmm.
Structurally, we can do this remotely also, because now we know we've cracked the formula of getting into their hearts and into their minds and render that into our crafts.
So, but then thank you for that. So how can you know that this is the trend, or you don't care about the trend and you want to know about the personality of that person? Because you know what, if I walk to someone's house, right, it could be an old-fashioned house versus a elaborate house, you know? So do we care about what's happening around and just focus on your personality of your house? What are your thoughts on that?
So partly yes. So it's also a responsibility to educate the customer, because like we have fashion trends in garments, we have fashion trends in interiors, and
Yeah.
as I said, so if it's important, if let's say a lot of your clients visit home or your friends visit home, it matters to you what is their opinion.
Yeah.
And in that case, it's not your own secluded place. Maybe it's just one of room that you want to keep it messed up, be it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you have people visiting your home, it matters what's their opinion. So it is an equal responsibility for us to educate them that what is there in the current trends, what works, what doesn't work, what exuberates luxury. Now, for example, if it's a Louis Vuitton bag, but and you know what it costs, but you're moving in a circle that does not. One is that you're just carrying it for yourself, or let's say if I were to gift Louis Vuitton bag to somebody who has not heard of Louis Vuitton, what is the value of Louis Vuitton for them?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Nothing.
So yes, so I think that is where the crux of the designing come, that what is the level of exposure the person has, and what is it that they would like to flaunt, if at all, in their home. But at the same, they shouldn't feel that they've come to a hotel. I mean, there has to be a very strong emotional connect to the place. I think that's where our forte is.
Yeah. So
You don't want to live in a place that you don't relate to.
so basically, you're saying that you try to make the house look like a Honda versus a Lexus and versus a Maserati. So it all depends on person's personality. That's how you look at it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So regarding, is this okay? So let me ask you this: is this a stigma that why does spring and summer need to be bright colors versus dark colors? Is it because there's heat into the body and that's incorrect, or how does that what is the thought process on that part?
I think it's all got to do with the sunlight and the absorption of sun and the heat.
Yeah.
So summers, of course, you don't want to absorb heat.
Yeah.
So white tends to reflect light, whereas a dark color tends to attract it and absorb it, which
Hmm.
keeps you warm.
Yeah.
So yes, I think it's as basic as that.
Yeah, thank you so much. So for the next all the stuff that you've done so far for so many years, what is the next 5 to 10 years for you?
Wow. Uh, so I think one way if I live that long, I think one of the visions is someday I should be able to design an airport. So we've of course designed homes. Now designing an airport is very very technical. It's not just aesthetics. It's a whole lot of functionality. It's a whole lot of time management from the time you check in to the time you walk to the aircraft, and the ease and the experience in doing everything from your security checks to conveyor belts to your hand luggages to what extent you're going to carry it. So it is very very technical, but these days airports are not just about the technical and the functional aspect. It's
Mhm.
also a lot about the experience that you spend there,
Of course.
literally 2 3 4 hours. So in the long run, yes, it's a long way to go, but I would want to do that someday. And my another personal passion is you know uh, inclusion and disability, and I work a lot in that space. And I've been doing my bits, but to be able to leave that behind, that learning behind as a legacy, which influences life or the next generation. I'm not talking about in my name as such, but that learning has to go to people, and in a very very organized and systematic manner in terms of introducing certain changes in policies and
Mhm.
also bringing together the world learning curve in the space of disability,
Mhm.
is what we also try to do through our this events that we do annually. It's called the National Ability Summit, where we host it in India
Mhm.
virtually, and we try to get international speakers from the field of films, fashion, employment, accessibility, digital accessibility, assistive technology, employment, startups, investments, everything to do with disability,
Mhm.
and try to change the narrative around disability and connect people worldwide.
Mhm.
Because I don't think it is a one person or one nation's
No, of course not.
problem. It is a
It's
problem worldwide.
it's worldwide,
So
right?
yes, so that's what we try to do through National Ability Summit.
Yeah, that's a very noble thing that you're doing, and I'm glad that you're doing it. At least I know a lot of people are doing it. We Back to Basics is also starting to do that also with other foundations. So hopefully that should work out too. So one last question before I let you go. Um, do you also fashion design celebrities and their homes and all that, or just regular people like me and you, I guess?
So we have three apparel brands. One is, of course, in the space of weddings. We The other two e-commerce brands are, of course, online. So of course, a lot of people end up wearing it, but they end up buying online. We don't even get to know unless sometimes we spot their picture here and there. But we've customized for a couple of music videos and films and actresses. Yes,
Okay, that's good. Congratulations on that part.
thank you.
And look where you came from. That you know, someone said that you will never be a fashion designer, and look where you are. And then your dreams are that you want to decorate a airport. So look at the vision of you done in those span of years that you have done this, and congratulations on that. So one last thing
Thank
before I
you.
let you go, what are the last words you have for Back to Basics?
Live by the day, prioritize everything by the day. I know we come, our previous generation planned a lot for us. Think for the next generation. I think one thing that everybody has to do as a moral responsibility is whatever that you're doing, make sure you leave a better world for the next generation. while you're doing whatever that you're doing. And I'm saying this not just for my own children, but for the whole generation. So be it your business, be it the environment, be it the learning that you've got, teach it, leave it behind for the next generation so that they don't make the same mistakes that you've done. I think that is also somewhere become the purpose of my life at
Sure.
this point. And I think all of us can just do that much to leave behind a better world.
Of course, Varija. Thank you so much for coming on my show and making this show brighter for me, and I'm very honored that you came on my show. But thank you again for making this brighter.
It's been an absolute pleasure, and I'm so glad that you're doing this. And I'm looking forward to much more and many more podcasts on interesting topics like you keep picking them up. Thank you
Thank,
so much, Girish.
no, thank you so much, and keep on supporting my small journey that I have so far. Thank you again.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, guys, we spoke with Varija today, and we talked about fashion design, we talked about interior design, and we talked about her small journey, or I should say big journey, depending how you want to define that. But one thing is definitely clear. When someone says that you cannot do this, all I can say is prove them wrong. There's a lot of ways to make yourself better. Don't let anyone let you down. That's the main key of what she has done so far. So as usual, always, there is a quote of the day, and the quote of the day is going to be, you can have anything you want in life if you dress for it. And that's what she did. She's trying to dress the world. She's trying to dress the world in the airport. Well, that's her dream. And then she's trying to dress the world with fashion and interior with your personality. And that's what she's trying to do. So guys, as always, what do I say at the end of the episode? Remember, everything in life goes back to basics, and that's what we did today, guys. Keep on subscribing me, comment, good, bad, ugly, either way, it'll make my show stronger day by day, and I'll keep on learning from you guys, all you guys. And guys, just keep on supporting me, send all the love on my side, and I'll see you next week. God bless. Bye-bye. Next week's episode on Back to Basics.
I got into it, Girish. And then in the States, really, my journey of motherhood started when I have my two children now, they're 6 and 8. But I realized that actually out of all of the jobs I've ever done, whether it was finance or transition into business development in the healthcare industry, motherhood was the most challenging job of all time. Not only are you working 24/7, you can never take a day off, you are always on call, and you learn so many skills. My communications was really whacked up to the highest of the high as a mother. I thought I was pretty good. I could string together a presentation or